But the average independent wrestler has been convinced, by well-meaning trainers that didn't mean to, but they gave them all these ideas, that to make it, you have to totally blend in, lose all semblance of your personality, and be sickeningly polite. Now, I'm a fan of being a genuinely good, professional, decent human being. But there's a difference, isn't there, between, a professional person and someone that's sickeningly polite, isn't there? I mean, have you ever seen those guys in the locker room who they stand with their backs against the wall, with their heads down, and they slowly walk up to you like a cat, right? And then they do this deep bow when they shake your hand, like ever so lightly, right? Yeah. It's time to get over that if you haven't gotten over that already. Because this business doesn't need more scared, timid children. There's plenty of those. What this business needs is grown professional adults. And by the way, this quote unquote old school mentality that, everybody talks about, the be overly polite, the do things the quote unquote right way. Have you ever stopped to ask what the right way really is? Or is it just a vague idea that they said, hey, this is the right way, but it's all these unwritten rules, right? Who said the unwritten rule is that you have to sacrifice years and years and years of your life and never get a result? That's insanity. Wouldn't it make the most sense if the right way was to really figure out what works, do what works, then get results and then make everybody money, right? And get a really, really good result so that way you're taken care of and then so is the company that you work for? Because I'm curious, where did that other mindset come from? Is that even based in reality? Or is that just some story that a few people on the independent level made up because they didn't know any better and then people started to pick up on it and they started to believe it too? Let me ask you, did the rough and tough pioneers of this business in the 70s and 80s, the old school guys that built this business, the ones that everybody says to look up to, were they these scared, timid children? Or did they know their value? Were they grown adult men? Did they know how to take care of themselves first and their families? And when they did that, weren't they immensely valuable to the promotion they worked for? Listen, you've got to be careful of whose stories you listen to. Because the problem is with stories is that people start believing them. I mean, put it this way. In this day and age, you can go online and do an internet search of anything you want in the world, okay? You could do an internet search for the flying spaghetti monster and figure out that there's a religion that actually exists where people believe that there's a big giant lump of spaghetti that is basically created the universe. You can do an internet search that says, 100% the earth is round. You can do an internet search that says 100% the earth is flat. The point is not whatever you believe. The point is you can literally do an internet search and get answers to anything you look for that prove that one theory correct, even if it's not true. So let me ask you this. If you can get proof of anything, what story would you rather listen to? The story that you have to waste your whole life and end up probably with nothing, but hey, you could say that you really had a love for this business? Or would you prefer to believe the story that says, hey, in order to make this really work for you, what you got to find out is number one, what you really want. Number two, what really works. Number three, go for it. And you're going to go for it by becoming the best version of yourself and putting yourself first so that way you have something to contribute. If you can find proof for any story, the question is what story are you going to listen to? Because you might be believing something that people said is, quote unquote true, but it's only true because somebody said it long enough and then people started to believe them. But it might not be true. It might just be a story. Or better yet, isn't it time to make up your own story? So here's where most people go wrong in this wrestling business when they're communicating with promoters.